Hey, what's up there, YouTubers? It's me again, Brian, aka Gamer55551, and I am back with a My 2 Cent video for this week, for the week of July 14th to the 20th, 2024, where I take a look at a couple stories that caught my attention, and I'll give you my thoughts and my opinion about them. And we got 4 stories to cover, including rumors of the possibility that Gears of War E-Day game, supposed rumors about it being possibly coming to the PS5. We now know who Emio, the Smiley Man, was after that teaser last week, and well, depending on your perspective, either you're going to like this announcement of what it is, or you're going to hate this announcement. We also have it's a bit of a controversy, something that Nintendo, with basically the whole idea with translators and some of the issues of them not being credited. And of course, supposedly something popped up on an ESRB rating system regarding the upcoming Zelda Echo of Wisdom, in which it seems that it's possible that Link could actually be playable in that game. If you're interested where I got the source of these information, links will be in the description of this video down below, so me watching this on YouTube. And if there's any part of this video you wish to skip at, there will be timestamps also as well, either on the video or in the description as well. But before we get started, I like to do what I like to call the quick My 2 Cents, stories that kind of caught my attention, but I'm not going to go into a huge amount of details at all. The first one has been reported that the iOS port of Resident Evil 7 has supposedly been purchased by fewer than 2,000 people in all. So apparently it doesn't seem to be that, despite this announcement that Capcom made during their showcase, the game hasn't done as well as, or at least it hasn't done as well as some think Capcom was hoping for. This also follows a report about Resident Evil 4 in Resident Evil Village. I think it was 4, not excuse me, selling as well on ISO as some had thought it would be. We haven't heard from Apple or Capcom at this time, so it remains to be seen and everything about this. Supposedly there is leak image of BioShock 4 that has apparently appeared online at all, although it remains to be seen how accurate this report is, and it also remains to be seen where BioShock 4 will take place. Will it be still in Rapture or Columbia or anything like that, or a whole new place? So it still remains to be seen, and supposedly the original development team is not working on this game, so we'll see how the other development team will handle this game and all. We have later learned that a Russian cloud game website has set up an illegally stream to allow people in Russia to stream Switch games through Yuzu and all. As some of you are aware, Nintendo went after Yuzu in terms of the whole emulation kind of situation like that. It's going to be very interesting to see what Nintendo does, or if they do anything about that, considering, Nintendo did pull out of Russia following or as what many would view as their illegal invasion of Ukraine and all. And well, it'll be very interesting to see what Nintendo does, whether they try to go after this or or not at all. We also learned that basically production on Sea of Stars DLC, supposedly according to the studio, seems to be going very well. We have yet to see what it looks like and everything like that, so we'll have to wait and see how the DLC does. I do think Sea of Stars was a very good game regardless of what system you own. It is worth the time and money if it's the kind of game that interests you in any way. We also learned that supposedly Rockstar could be bringing GTA Plus or GTA something like that to the Nintendo Switch. Supposedly at this time, neither Nintendo nor Rockstar has said anything yet at this moment. It's going to be very interesting to see how this exactly would work, considering that GTA Online is not even available on the Nintendo Switch. It's possible this could be something coming to the Switch successor or the Switch 2, so it's certainly not out of the realm of possibility of that. But for right now, until Rockstar says something or anything like that, at the moment it's best to probably treat this as nothing more than a rumor at this time. And sadly, one of the developers who worked on the classic GoldenEye to even the original Perfect Dark, by the name of Brett Jones, unfortunately has passed away. Probably he worked at Rare and also worked and did on other movies like the Batman, worked as artist for that, to the Fast and Furious, the Fantastic Beasts and all. Very unfortunate to hear this person pass away, and my heart does go out to all of his his fans who liked his work, and his family in general and all. And in the movie and TV show part of the My Two Cent, we had 3 trailers that were actually shown during a show this week. The first one was from Netflix, and that was basically a teaser for their upcoming animated show Terminator Zero, which will be out on August 29th. Supposedly it's handling by Production IG, that is known for the Ghost in the Shell series, though. Judging from what they showed during that trailer, though, it looked really nice and it looked promising, and we'll see how well this one is, how the response to this one might be. The last Terminator thing we remember was Terminator Dark Fate, which I thought was an improvement over the last couple Terminator movies that have been done outside of Terminator 2 Judgment Day, but obviously that did not do well at the box office and everything like that. We also got a second trailer for the upcoming Beetlejuice or Beetlejuice 2. Definitely looking forward to that one. And of course, we also have the final trailer that was shown for the upcoming Deadpool and Wolverine, which as of the recording of this video will be out next week. I will admit this final trailer does seem a bit, the tone is a little bit, I would say somewhat darker than the last 2 trailers we've seen of Deadpool and Wolverine. But in either case though, I am still looking forward to that movie and all. We also learned that for the upcoming Emmy shows, or Emmy nominees though, we are learning that the upcoming Fallout, or should I say the Fallout TV show from Amazon, has been nominated for 16 Emmys, which I would say that's very good for that show though. I did watch it, I did enjoy it and everything like that. I'm looking forward to when season 2 happens though, and we'll see how well Fallout does at the Emmy Awards though. Not only that, but supposedly FX's Shogun has also been nominated at the Emmy series, and for what I understand, it's been nominated for the most Emmys out there. I mean, that show definitely generated a lot of buzz, and it definitely grabbed an audience though. I thought it was good. To me, one could argue it's Game of Thrones with a samurai setting to a certain degree, and I certainly don't think that's necessarily a bad thing and everything like that. Excuse me. We also learned that supposedly the composer for the upcoming Sonic movie 3, or Sonic the Hedgehog 3, has supposedly watched the final product and everything like that. And supposedly he is saying that he does think that it's going to be good, it's going to be fun and everything like that. I mean, we'll see when the movie finally comes out during this winter and all. I would say based on what I've seen with the first and second one, and of course after watching the Knuckles miniseries and all, I would say I have a feeling it's going to be one of those, just like how the other 2 were. It's going to be one that it's going to be good, but probably not going to knock my socks off or anything like that though. I definitely enjoyed the first and second one though. I'll probably more likely enjoy the third one, but we'll find out once when the third one comes out, especially with Shadow now being part of it and everything like that. And last but not least, and this one is kind of going to be depending on your perspective, is that Paramount has announced that they have canceled the 3rd season for their Halo TV show. Now, I'm sure most of you are aware that one got a very mixed response to a lot of folks out there. The first season did not exactly sit very well with a lot of folks. The second season, I would say not perfect, but definitely got a better response than the first season though. Still, it is a little bit unfortunate that they have decided to not go ahead with the 3rd season. There could be multiple factors. I mean, some of it could be, Skydance is now owning Paramount and maybe they're trying to go a different direction. Others could point to maybe Microsoft saw how well Fallout's doing and decided to maybe take a different approach or something. So there are multiple ways you could look at it though. However, there does seem to be a silver lining, as there are reports coming out that they are considering shopping around for maybe another streaming service to do a 3rd season. So we don't know who it would be. It could be Peacock, it could be Disney, if that's even a possibility. It could be even be Netflix, for crying out loud. So time will ultimately tell if a third season it happens. If it does, it will be very interesting to see what other streaming services will pop up. But as of right now, it looks like Halo on Paramount Plus after 2 seasons is no more and all. Okay, with our Quick My 2 Cent part now done, along with the movie and TV show part of the Quick My 2 Cent, we'll get started with our first story, and this one has to do with the upcoming game Zelda Echo of Wisdom, and an interesting spotting that was that was found on the ESRB rating for the game though. Now, one of the interesting games that was announced during Nintendo Direct was the Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, and what made this one interesting was for the first time, unless you want to count, the Hyrule Warrior games, the original one, and Age of Calamity, basically up to this point, Princess Zelda was not a, playable character at all, outside of the games I mentioned, or the god-awful Philips CDI games and all. So it was kind of interesting to see that she was going to be a playable character this time around in her own game and everything like that. Now, there's still some details we still have to figure out exactly, such as based on what was shown during the trailer, we had basically her copying abilities to even enemies, or let's say copying items and all. And so there's still more about how that all will play out and everything like that. And I am very curious to see how Zelda plays in like her own game and everything. But recently, a spotting was made on an ESRB rating system that seemed to indicate, unless this is a typo from ESRB rating, and while they aren't as known for doing typos, it's certainly not out of the realm of possibility, but it seems to indicate that there is a possibility that Link may actually be playable in that game. From an article from Video Game Chronicles, it points out that, quote, Link will be a playable character in The Legend of Zelda Echo of Wisdom. It's been revealed. Confirmation that players will be able to assume the role of Link via the U.S. Entertainment Software Rating Board. This is what the rating board had to say. Quote, this is an adventure game in which players assume the role of Zelda as she attempts to dispel rifts throughout Hyrule and rescue Link. Read the classified board's rating system on Echo of Wisdom. From a 3/4 overhead perspective or a top perspective, depending on how you want to look at it, players explore various environments while fighting stylish enemies, humans, creatures. As Link's players use a sword and arrow to defeat enemies, Zelda can use a magic wand to summon creatures. You wind up knights, pig soldiers flying for battle. Some enemies can be defeated by being set on fire. Other creatures dissolve into mist when defeated. Battle sequences are somewhat frantic, with several enemies attacking and fighting at once. So, if what the ESRB rating system is saying is correct, and Link is a playable character and all, I am kind of curious to see how that's going to work. Is there going to be a scenario where you switch between, Zelda and Link? Are there certain elements of the story where you'll play as Princess Zelda, and then there's another element where you play as Link? Is Link going to be in this other dimension and stuck and trying to find his way out of this dimension or something like that, though? Is there going to be a point where one half of the game you're playing as Princess Zelda, the other half you're playing as Link? So, if what the ESRB rating board is saying is true, I am kind of curious to see how that is going to play out. And if it is, we are playing as Link though, I'm still very interested in this game. I'm still very curious to see how the different styles is between Link's style and Princess Zelda's style and all. Obviously, we still have to wait and see and hear from Nintendo. Maybe we'll get a second trailer, and maybe they'll show us what it's like playing as not only as Princess Zelda or Link in the upcoming Zelda Echo of Wisdoms. But for right now, the only thing we have at this moment is what is spotted on this ESRB description. Again, it could be right, it could be wrong, it could be a typo, but time will ultimately tell. So overall, assuming this report is true that Link is an actual playable character, I am kind of curious to see how that's going to work in terms of, especially with a game where based off the trailer, Zelda is the main star and all. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll get to part 2, and this one has to do with a controversy surrounding translators and them not being credited by Nintendo, especially during when the credits start rolling after you sort of beaten game and all. So we'll take a quick break and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 2 of my 2 cent video, and for this one we're going to be taking a look at sort of a controversy that seems to have emerged over basically translators who work at Nintendo and all. Now, we see one of the controversies that kind of popped up last year was supposedly over the issue with Nintendo not crediting several developers, ranging from the original developers to also those who may have worked on localization or translation. Nintendo may hire some external folks outside of their, treehouse, or folks who work at Nintendo who help with localization, everything like that. And Nintendo, as much as I like them, has had some of their share of controversies here and there. Well, recently, an article by game developers seemed to indicate and points towards, at least according to the sources that supposedly talk to game developer, seem to indicate that Nintendo is continuing a policy of not crediting those folks basically who may help contribute working in these games. Though some of the recent games that came out were the remake of Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door to Animal Crossing New Horizon itself. A quick summary of this from Nintendo Life. This is what Nintendo Life has to say based off the article from GameDeveloper.com, which also I'll have a link in the description if you want to read the Game Developer article as well. It reads that, quote, multiple external translators who worked on games like Animal Crossing New Horizons, Super Mario RPG, and Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom say that Nintendo miscredit policy has been ridiculous after a company repeatedly failed to credit their work. This is according to a new article from Game Developer in which several anonymous freelance translators confessed to having to sign a decade-spanning non-disclosable agreement by Nintendo, preventing them from being able to discuss their work. It is Nintendo's policy not to list the name of translators from external agencies in their game's credits. One source told Game Developer, which also forbid us from listing those titles on our CV. According to the external translators who work with Nintendo as contractors through service providers, LocalSoft, this practice is just part of the business, though its effect is far greater than simply preventing them from being able to tell their friends and family about the current project. With a decade-long NDA, these translators have large, unexplained gaps in their CV, which some claim has prevented them from getting more work afterwards. One person said, quote, I felt I would benefit from being able to state I worked on the title when offering my services to a new client. Not to mention that I actually spent a fair amount of time working with almost exclusively for them. When the whole project was done, it took me months to get some steady work again going, as I had been unavailable for so long. So legitimacy, I feel robbed, but in an all too familiar way, which says a lot about this line of work. This is not the case for Nintendo's in-house translators. We should add, those who are employed by Nintendo are given an individual nod in a translation credit, though this paints a muddy picture on how many people actually work on the job. You don't really notice that 15 to 20 translators are not in the credit, another source told Game Developers, but almost every big title Nintendo release uses external translators actually fail to credit translators. In the case of Animal Crossing New Horizon and The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, LocalSoft received a company credit in the game's retrospective special thanks and localization credits section, though the individual translators were not mentioned. According to Game Developers, studio and translation agency point the finger at each other when instances of miscrediting are highlighted, with neither taking responsibility. It is nigh impossible for translators to push back against the structure and translator confess. Anyone trying will get blacklisted before going anywhere. Last year's Nintendo's credit practice was once again under close scrutiny when the original Metroid Prime development team was not credited in the Switch remaster. The International Game Developer Association later announced an update to its game crediting policy guides in hope of improving industry standards. It's also worth pointing out, though, that we heard something very similar when the Super Mario Bros. Movie came out, and the DK rap was used in the scene where Donkey Kong makes his appearance, and some have criticized Nintendo for not crediting the folks who worked on the DK rap song and everything like that. Assuming what game developer is saying is true, and it's definitely not out of the realm of possibility, I do think that's a very scummy thing for Nintendo to do. I really think that everybody who has worked on this game, even if it's for a small amount, I mean, they should not only be allowed to be credited and all, but they should still be given the right to maybe, put it on their resume saying, hey, I worked on this game. I get it if you want to put a non-disclosure agreement in terms of during the development of the game, you don't want any secrets about what the game's going to be out and everything like that during the development. But after the game is released, yeah, I think that's ridiculous that they're not letting them put this on their resume to say, hey, I helped with this game, I helped worked out on it. So I do agree, assuming what game developer is saying is true, I do agree this is a very scummy practice, and I really think Nintendo should change their policy on that. I think a 10-year NDA is absolutely ridiculous, especially after the game has already been out already and everything like that, though. It remains to be seen if Nintendo will respond to this. We haven't heard anything before, but we have seen situations where Nintendo has responded to the situation, such as supposedly, remember, I think it was last year, an employee called out Nintendo that they were fired because they asked a question about unionization. Supposedly, Nintendo made the claim that wasn't the case, but there was a counterclaim. Eventually, they had to settle this out of court and everything like that, and eventually put up a sign letting people know that they have a right to ask questions about unions and everything like that. But either way, I mean, this is if this is true, this is a very dumb thing for Nintendo to do, okay? Let these people be able to put on their resume and say, hey, I worked on Zelda Echo of Wisdom. Hey, I helped worked on Tears of the Kingdom. I helped worked on Metroid Prime Remaster or Metroid Dread or Super Mario Bros. Wonder. Let these folks be able to do that and everything like that. Again, I get it when it's the game, while the game is certainly in development, but once it's out of development, once it's already out and shipped and everything like that, I think it's ridiculous that you have to have them put a 10-year NDA, and they can't even put it on their resume even after the game is already out. So overall, assuming this report from game developer is true, this is a very stupid move on Nintendo's part. I think even if they don't work at Nintendo and these are the external developers, they should be credited in the game, though, especially if they helped contribute and worked with this when this game was in development, regardless if it's a remake, remaster, or new IP or a new game in general. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll get to part 3. And this one has to do with what Nintendo finally revealing who this Emio, the Smiley Man, was when that teaser was released last week. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 3 of my 2 cent video, and for this one, we're going to be taking a look at who Emio, the Smiley Man, was, and sort of what it officially is. Now, as some of you are aware of last week, though, Nintendo put out a very interesting teaser and all. It basically was, although in Japanese, it started a hashtag of who is Emio, if I'm saying the name correctly. And this led to a lot of wild speculations of what this could be. Some think this could have been a Switch 2 title. Some think it could have been like a, maybe a cross-gen title and everything like that. There were even some who thought this would be interesting to see what kind of game this turned out, though. Well, this week Nintendo officially revealed what that game may be, what it is. And it's probably one that, depending on your perspective or your view, either this is something you're looking forward to trying out, or you was one of those, you kind of let your expectations get too high and you just came away disappointed. Basically, it's called Emio, the Smiley Man, Famicom Detective Club. It's basically part of, supposedly, the Famicom Detective Club, that series that has been around for Nintendo for quite some time. I think they did a remake or a remaster of one of their games and they brought it over to the Switch and all. But anyway, according to an article from Nintendo Life, this is what they had to say. Quote, After a quick tease that left all of us asking who is Emio, Nintendo has today given us the answer with Emio, the Smiley Man Famicom Detective Club, which will be bringing the mystery to Switch on August 29th. Immediately, it said, in the latest entry of the Famicom Detective Club series, you play as a private detective tasked with solving a series of murders that all appear linked to a renowned serial killer, Emio, the Smiley Man. Expect to see returning characters from the previous entries in the series alongside with new faces and what promises to be a particularly spooky mystery. Emio, the Smiley, as mentioned, it will launch next month on Nintendo Switch eShop for around $49.99, $50 though, and a physical version has been confirmed via Nintendo's US site, although there's no confirmation of a European release as of yet though, although they updated saying it's been confirmed physically and digitally in Europe too. While English, French, German, Italian, Spanish will all be available on screen text, the voiceover will be in Japanese. A Japan only at present collector's edition has also been revealed, including an art book, what appears to be a soundtrack CD, and other goodies though. No word at this time if there's any pre-orders outside of, Nintendo's US site, like, Best Buy or GameStop or anything like that. Or I wouldn't be surprised if we see this pop up at PlayAsia and all. So anyway, hearing this announcement though, like I said, you either are excited or disappointed in this. On one hand, it is kind of interesting to see that Nintendo's looking at digging through some of their old franchises, and the fact that this is a series that's been known for Nintendo has done. It's certainly nice to see it being revived and everything like that. So, and it's certainly nice that they're doing a new entry and everything like that. And obviously, this one is aimed more like the visual novel or point-and-click kind of adventure, kind of sort of what I saw with the Phoenix Wright series and everything like that. But on the other hand, I can also understand why some people were disappointed, though. I think a lot of people were hoping that Nintendo was going to do something maybe on the vein of like Evil Within or Resident Evil or anything like that. So obviously some folks are kind of disappointed in this, but I could also understand the appeal. Again, this is obviously a niche series and everything like that. Visual novels or point and clicks may or may not appeal to everyone out there, but there certainly is an audience for it though. So depending on your view on this one, either you're happy with this announcement or disappointed with this announcement. So overall, I would say I can understand how this announcement is kind of mixed though. I am kind of curious about this because I may not be big on the visual novels or point and click, but I might give this one a go and give it a try if I get the chance and everything like that. But still, I can understand how some people might have been disappointed with this announcement and everything. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll get to our fourth and final part, and this one has to do with supposedly rumors of a job listing that may indicate or possibly indicate that the upcoming Gears of War E-Days could maybe make its way over to the PS5 and everything. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with our fourth and final part of our My Two Cents my My2 Cent video, and for this one we're going to be taking a look at Gears of War E-Day, particularly a job listing. Now, one of the things we've seen Microsoft has done lately, ever since Phil Spencer has taken over, is that they have somewhat taken a bit of a multi-platform approach. Now, I'm not saying every game they put out has been a multi-platform release, but we have seen some of their games, such as, whether it was studios they purchased like Cuphead, make its way to multiple systems, including the Nintendo Switch and everything like that. And of course, we've also recently seen them done with Pentiment and Hi-Fi Rush, rest in peace, Tango Gameworks and everything like that, to even Sea of Thieves has made its way over to other systems, including the PS5, and that game seems to have done very well. And of course, with them now owning Activision Blizzard, a lot of their titles, particularly with the upcoming Black Ops 6, is probably going to be a multi-platform release. But we haven't seen basically some of the IPs that they have developed, not studios they purchased, like Halo and Gears, outside of maybe coming to the PC and everything like that, it has remained up to this point has been mostly been on the Xbox system and everything like that. Well, a recent listing seemed to indicate that there is a possibility, at the very least, that Gears of War E-Day, the next entry in the Gears of War series, might make its way over to the PS5, at least if this job listing is accurate and everything. According to an article from Insider Gaming Network, it reads, quote, "When Gears of War E-Day was announced back in June, many fans wonder if it would be a console exclusive for Xbox or if it's a PlayStation release will also happen. Fast forward a month later, and a job posting is hinting at the possible release on Sony's platform. The coalition is looking for a senior online client engineer to work on Gears of War E-Day. Their position, according to the Post, will help build the multiplayer and online experience of the game, including in-game economies and commerce, sessions, management, player statistics, user-generated content, and matchmaking. As part of the preference qualification for the job, the list mentions prior experience working with online platforms such as Xbox Live, Steam, and yes, the PlayStation Network, PSN. While having experience with PlayStation Network doesn't necessarily confirm that a PlayStation launch of the game is guaranteed, it's interesting enough that it would specifically mention. We know the game is certain for Xbox and Steam, which is why it makes sense to see it in the listing. So the idea of it coming to PlayStation, I would say wouldn't be entirely shocking considering the direction that Microsoft has been going lately, though. We have seen them sort of move away from the whole idea of console exclusive, at least according to how Phil Spencer has said and everything like that before. Does this listing guarantee basically that this game is coming to the PS5? And I would say, and I kind of agree with some folks out there, the answer is no. There's no 100% guarantee that this game is coming to other systems and everything like that, though. So it kind of remains to be seen if that will happen or not, though. I mean, it's possible Microsoft may choose, do this on a case-by-case basis and decide which games could and couldn't go over to other systems. Or it's possible that maybe they looked at games like Sea of Thieves and figured, maybe multi-platform or like multiplayer type games, maybe those can maybe go to other systems, but maybe games like Gears of War or Halo will remain on our Xbox ecosystem, Game Pass, Xbox, PC in general and all. So it remains to be seen at this time whether or not this will happen. I mean, it's possible it could come to the PS5 at some point down the road, or it may not come at all. In either case and everything like that, I'm not losing sleep if it turns out that this is just, it doesn't turn into anything, though. Like it may not be coming to the PS5 at all. And if they decide not to bring it to the PS5, it's like, okay, no big whoop or anything like that. It's not something to really to lose sleep over. But we'll have to wait to hear from Microsoft, which I really think, on a side note, I really think Microsoft needs to do a better job when it comes to their messaging and everything like that. So overall, this job listing, if this is correct, doesn't rule out the possibility that it could come to the PS5, but at the same time, it also possible it may not come to the PS5 at all and everything like that. Okay, this concludes this My 2 Cent video for this week. And again, these are my opinion. What are yours? What are your thoughts about the possibility that Link could be playable in Zelda Echo of Wisdom? Do you think the ESRB rating is correct in what they said, though? And if so, how do you think Nintendo will handle Link in what supposedly is where the main Zelda is sort of the main character and everything like that in this latest entry of the Zelda series? What are your thoughts about this report from GameDeveloper.com over how Nintendo treats, treats like their translators, or at least outside translators and all? Do you think this is a dumb move on Nintendo's part? Do you think that they should change some of their policy when it comes to hiring outside help, specifically with translators who, help out with the game? And do you think they should also be credited for the game as well? What are your thoughts about finally knowing what Emio the Smiling Man is? Is this the type of game that you're looking forward to playing? Are you a fan of the Famicom Detective Club? Or are you very disappointed with what Emio the Smiling Man turned out to be? And what are your thoughts about this report about the possibility of Gears of War E-Day coming to the PS5, or the possibility or rumor to be exact? Do you think these rumors are correct? Do you think this is a sign that Gears of War E-Day would be coming to the PS5? Or do you think a lot of people are just blowing it way out of proportion or everything like that? Do you agree with what I said in this video? Do you disagree? Do you have a difference of opinion? As always, sound off in the comment section below. Let me know what you think. And if you do like this video, I hope you hit the like button. I would appreciate it. And I hope you do subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you do, make sure you hit the bell icon for notifications of any new videos I put up. Also, feel free to share this video if you want to, and feel free to donate to my channel if you like. You could do it through PayPal me or Patreon. Or Steam Labs. Links will be in the description of this video, assuming you're watching this on YouTube. And I will see you again next time when I do another video. Hopefully that'll be soon. Until then, from Southern California, I wish you all a good day then. Bye!